What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at the Bowery Electric, and today we are here with Kiss Kiss Bang. Thank you so much for your time today, Malcolm.
Hey, thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. It's so awesome to have you here. Your newest EP, absolutely kick-ass. You just want to give like a rundown on how the making of this record was, recording, mixing, mastering, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, absolutely, man. We recorded the EP in Louisville, Kentucky with a guy named Jordan Haynes at Early Grace Studios. A lot of these songs, at present time, and now they're about 2 years old. We recorded them. We had two different sessions, or possibly three, where we record. I think we recorded 3 songs at a time. After that, we spent a lot of time mixing them and mastering them to get the song. We were trying to achieve a certain kind of sound with it, and I feel like as a musician, you maybe don't even ever accomplish what you want to, but you try to get as close as you can. But we did spend a lot of time on the EP, and we've been pretty fortunate. It's been received well by our fans that we've made thus far. So.
Awesome.
Pretty happy with it.
Yeah. Being that it's an EP, like, is this like maybe a clear like representation or taste of what Kiss Kiss Bang is all about, or do you think that like maybe in the future when you write like a full length album, you're gonna experiment a little bit more with your sound?
I would say a little of both. I feel like we kind of approach recording and songwriting as almost like a moment in time. I think the EP represents, that moment, what we were writing and the things the sounds we were kind of hearing in our head. But I think, on a full length record, I believe that it would be a little more experimentation because we're still. I feel like you always search for your sound. We know what works well for us. With 3 guitars and 3 prominent vocals. But yeah, there's still experimentation going on, and we're already working on our next record. So. Yeah. It's just constantly trying to push and evolve,
Yeah. Well, what's funny is I thought that, like, I heard the song, and I think there's a great modern and classic rock sound to it. But, like, you have a song like She's Bad, which is kind of like, more in your face, like, has that groovy vibe to it.
Yep.
But the song, I think it's called Run to You or something like that. After that, it's a little more slow, more ballad-like.
Sure, in which a lot of people, a cool thing about that, it's actually a cover song. That song was written by Bryan Adams. And the thing that's cool about it is some people that have approached us maybe don't even know that was, not our song. What, to me, that kind of makes us feel like we did a good job on it because we kind of made it our own. But yeah, that was a fun one to record, the Bryan Adams song. And yeah, She's Bad is very in your face. And then we have a song like When It Rains. That's kind of like I don't know. We wanted to make that song sound as epic as possible. I guess that's kind of what we were shooting for. But yeah, you were saying earlier, a representation of our sound. I feel like this the Hearts on Fire EP is kind of one end to the other end of the spectrum of what we sound like from song to song. I feel like it grasps a little bit of everything.
With the making of each song, was there kind of like a formula that maybe kind of tied everything together, or was there like a preconceived idea, or was a lot of the stuff like rather improvised?
It's just a little bit of everything, man. It kind of we really try to always, I guess you say, serve the song. So whatever means it took to get what we wanted. A couple of the songs came together very fast, and then a couple of them, a song like Head Change, it took a lot of time. And from the time that it was written, the way we practice it just live and in a rehearsal space to the way it became recorded, it was very different. But we achieved what we wanted to with the song. So a little bit of everything for each song. We kind of approach each song as its own thing. So sometimes it comes together fast, and there's a certain way we roll with it, and other songs come together, or they take a little bit more time. We kind of just chip away at them.
Yeah. When it comes to playing like an aggressive, like a more aggressive song like She's Bad versus like the Bryan Adams cover, I was having a discussion about this with Buck Cherry, and they say it's sometimes harder to play a slower song than a fast song. For you, is it a different energy depending on, like, for lack of better terms, like the level of heaviness of the song?
Sure. Yeah, I can see that. I would say that would probably vary from member to member, but we always try to kick it, I guess, as we say. We always try to kick it in whichever song we're approaching. We don't really have any song that's like super slow, like really laid back. But I don't know. Live, I mean, it depends on how we're feeling now, we might kick the tempo up just because that's what we're feeling like. It changes from time to time. You know?
Sometimes the slow song could just be the ultimate buzz.
Right? Yeah. It's a thing. And, it's like like a show like tonight, we'll have a set list. There's sometimes where we'll go on stage and somebody will just call a song out, and we kind of vibe off the crowd. There's always usually a general set list, but sometimes things get switched around on the fly because, I don't know, you just kind of play to the room and kind of feel it out, and if people are digging what you're doing, just keep rolling with it.
Also, if people call out a song, you'll play it. So if somebody says play Freebird, you might actually do it.
Well, we ain't gonna do that. I'll tell you that right now. We won't make Freebird, but yeah, I mean, we have before. I can think of a time or two where at a local place, at a regional area where we're from, where people have called out an original song that they want to hear, and we'll just be like, okay, here you go. I mean, we've done it before.
What if you never had time to practice it? Would you just say no, not tonight?
Yeah, we would do. Yeah, we would not play it if we hadn't practiced it. But there's been a couple times that I remember once we made it to a venue that our set actually was supposed to be longer than we anticipated, and we had to add a couple songs the original songs, but we hadn't played them in a while, and we were kind of like backstage, like, okay, how's that part go? And we're just like, well, we'll see how it goes when it's live. But I remember that show. We luckily played it pretty well, pulled it off. I don't think anybody know that we hadn't practiced it in a while.
Yeah, and you kind of led me into my next question, because when it comes to playing your material, I've always thought that it's one thing to be able to play an instrument and be able to, write songs and all that, but to play live, interact with a crowd, keep a room engaging is also a completely separate talent altogether. Sure. Do you try to maybe execute the material maybe a little bit different? Like, is there, you throw in like an extra solo or a couple notes, or do you try to play the material like note for note, exactly what people would hear?
We generally try to stay away from trying to play the thing note for note. Now, as far as like when we're within the song, lyrics and melodies won't change, of course. Sometimes we'll just kind of have almost like a free-form jam in some spots. We always allow spots in our set, maybe leading into a song to where we, could just have room to jam, because we play off of each other always, every show. And the structure of the songs will always be the same, but sometimes we just kind of roll with it. Some parts to where, say, it's just a louder dynamic, we may run that part 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times until a vocal comes back in. Just kind of depends on what we're feeling. We always try to play to the room, no matter how big or small it is, and just kind of vibe it out. But we always play with each other, I believe, pretty well. So we've played a lot of shows together, so we can feel where it's going.
Awesome.
Song to song.
Yeah. And I have 2 more questions
Absolutely.
for you. But when it comes to lyrics, is there ever a time where like you have a lyrical subject matter in mind, and maybe that could help determine the music itself, mm-hmm. or are lyrics like always like you need music in order to come up with the lyrics?
I would say a little of both. Generally, the music comes first. A lot of things start with a guitar riff or a drum beat and a guitar riff. But yeah, sometimes we kind of, I guess you could say, hear the music and be like, well, what does this kind of sound like? And, the subject matter, I guess, kind of arises from what we're hearing. We have some really good lyricists in our band, in my opinion, and they kind of go off on their own and just start, writing, picking it away, and they're hacking it at it until they get something that's cool. But we really focus on the melodies first and foremost. And it's kind of like a thing when once there's a guitar riff and, the band's kind of compose the song in a rough form, somebody that's singing kind of might just scat something out. Maybe not any exact words or anything, but sometimes words pop up from those melodies, and they end up becoming a word or a lyric in the song. So it's kind of, we try to keep it as natural as possible. If you sit down and be like, well, we got to write a song about this, I think it can come off a little stale. Really, it's just kind of, like I said earlier, we approach everything as it's like each song is its own entity. So whatever it really calls for. But a lot of times, definitely the music first, and then lyrics. Lyrics are honestly one of the last things. Melodies and things like that are about second to last. But yeah, usually it's music first.
Interesting. And the final question I wanted to have you is, you guys are from Louisville, Kentucky? Or?
Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Bowling
Green, Kentucky, yes, sir.
Yeah, so I was just in Kentucky, actually, back in September for Louder
Than Life, yeah.
Yep, which was an awesome... Were you there?
No, I did not make it this year, but Louder Than Life is always a good time.
Yeah, but, I just know that there's a lot of great bands from Kentucky, whether it's Knocked Loose, who's taking off like crazy now,
doing
Days
great.
of the New,
Yep.
Tantric. I just interviewed a local band from there called In the Clear, who I really like.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember those,
One of my favorite albums of all time.
Cool,
it was great
man.
to talk to
That's
for
awesome.
the farewell show. But is there like a great? I heard there's like a great active rock and metal scene. I don't know how much in Bowling Green, but like, is there like a scene you're active in, or are you trying to maybe get outside Kentucky a little bit more?
I like to think there's a great music scene in the whole entire state of Kentucky, and it doesn't really matter what genre. There's a lot, but as far as rock goes, I feel like there's a pretty solid scene. There's a lot of really good musicians. The cities that you can bounce around at in Kentucky. You've got Louisville, you got Lexington, where we're from, and Bowling Green. We're not all from Bowling Green, but that's where we're based out of. We're not from very far from there. But yeah, there's a killer rock scene in Kentucky, and there's, like I said, there's a lot of really great musicians. That's like, if you can't walk out and try to one up the people that come before you, it's kind of like, what are you doing? It's really, there's a very big premium that's put on being a good musician and writing good songs and being a good band, a good unit from where we're from. It's kind of something, I guess you say, been in the water for many years, is good musicianship and good bands and good songs. But yeah, it's killer in Kentucky. We've been fortunate to travel a decent little bit. This is our first time in New York City, but it's pretty fun getting out to see all the different forms of music and different musicians and artists. But when I think back to Kentucky, I feel like we're very fortunate to have as many bands and musicians and songwriters that we do. It's kind of unique. I mean, Kentucky has a very storied and rich musical legacy.
Yeah. There was a lot of great Kentucky-based bands.
Absolutely.
Played a lot, like Anemic Royalty was really good, and I just feel like I always hear, like, it happens like it's at randomly, but like you just hear a band like Knock Loose played here like yesterday, just from Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, really? They play, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
that was the most violent show I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, I bet it was pretty rowdy.
Yeah. But yeah, it just seems like you got some real good talent down there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's like I said, there's a lot of bands, that people don't even maybe realize that are from the state that have come out of there. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time
Absolutely,
today. It's
man.
going to be a fun show tonight. Welcome to New York.
Yeah, man. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Is there just anything else you would like to promote for Kiss Kiss Bang, if you're allowed to say?
Yeah, of course. We if you haven't heard our EP yet, it's the Hearts on Fire EP. You can check that out on Spotify and YouTube and anywhere you can stream or find music, iTunes, all that good stuff, Google Play. But yeah, give us a listen. Find us on social media. Shoot us a message. We're always very proactive with talking to all of our fans and things like that. And we're really excited to be here in New York City, man. I'm glad I got to sit down and chat with you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
It's an honor to talk to you as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But everybody, we are here with Malcolm of Kiss Kiss Bang. Pick up the Hearts on Fire EP if you haven't already. This is Alex from Heavy New York. We'll see you next time.